All right, everybody. Well, welcome to another edition of SauvBlancTV, and we're doing something new this time. As opposed to standing out in a vineyard or in a tasting room or in a cellar, we're actually taking advantage of modern technology here on Google Hangouts on air. And so that's a nice little function so we don't make everybody have to get in a car or go stand out in bad weather or anything like that. So with me today I have three great guests that I'm very pleased to have. First of all, I've got Mike Kohne, and Mike is the co-owner and vintner at Lohr Vineyards. I have Karl Antink, and Karl is the assistant winemaker who heads up the white winemaking program at Lohr Vineyards and Wines. And also Catherine Fallis, who is Master Sommelier based in San Francisco. And Catherine is also part of the Summertime in a Glass team. She is our resident Master Sommelier. So welcome, everybody.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming. So today what we're actually talking about is we're talking about Arroyo Seco, and everybody here has
welcome. Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Catherine. And everybody here has a connection to Arroyo Seco, specifically Mike and Karl there. We want to talk about Sauvignon Blanc in the region and share a little bit about the region and the Sauv Blanc there, obviously, and just kind of, talk a little bit about all the great stuff that's going on there. So, to kick all this off, Mike, would you tell us a little bit about the Arroyo Seco AVA, where it is, and some of the history?
Yeah. Brief overview. So basically, the Arroyo Seco appellation is found within the Monterey County. Found within Monterey County, and it's actually a really small little piece of Monterey County. It was founded and basically authored due to a waterway, the Arroyo Seco Creek, and due to that foundation, kind of actually has a lot of different and intricate terrains, locations. There's a large portion of the appellation that actually sits in the Salinas Valley, and then there's another section that sort of heads up into the Santa Lucia Mountains in this little narrow gorge. But basically, the foundation, again, was the water that would either be the snow melt or the rain runoff that would then come from the Santa Lucia Mountains and head into the Salinas River and then out to the Monterey Bay. But it's a very cool appellation for all intents and purposes. It's a UC Davis Region 1, so a lot of fog, a lot of wind, and just a great place to grow Sauvignon Blanc. And
it's just sort of for people that that don't know specifically, that are maybe watching this from further afield. It is on the central coast of California in Monterey County, and as you just described, it's tucked inland a little bit. And so, Mike, tell me, when was the appellation actually established? And
it was 1983. But interesting enough, so we celebrated 30 years last year, but actually vineyard plantings date back to the early 60s. It's actually, over 50 years have there been grapes planted in the little appellation. Okay. And I say little only in the context of the total size of the AVA is about 18,000 acres, which sounds big, but when you compare it to others, Napa Valley, Sonoma Valley, Russian River, these places that people, again, have a good understanding of, we're really dwarfed by them. I mean, Napa is 225,000, and again, we're only 18. So it's a very small, finite part of California within Monterey, which is about an hour, hour and 15 minutes, hour and 30 minutes south of San Francisco and sort of the Silicon Valley area.
Okay, cool. Well, Karl, do me a favor, and Mike touched on this a little bit, but can you tell us a little bit more about the terroir, and then specifically, it seems that people have really gravitated there towards the Sauvignon Musque clone, and can you talk about that a little bit for us?
Yeah, as Mike said, it's a very cool climate. You get a lot of morning fog, and then a lot of afternoon winds that kind of, it will warm up during the day, but those winds really kind of temper the heat. And I think for Sauvignon Blanc, that's really beneficial because we also farm some Sauvignon Blanc up in Napa in a very warm area. And Sauvignon Blanc goes through some very, I think, unique flavor profiles as it ripens.
Well, so Catherine, let me jump to you, and I should add that Catherine's actually joining us by phone today. So, Catherine, as a master sommelier, having tasted a lot of these wines, can you give us a little bit, and Karl was kind of going in that direction, a little bit of the flavor profiles that you've discovered? And it seems that from what you've tasted recently, you've kind of broken this into two camps. Can you talk about that a little bit, maybe contrast with a couple other growing regions, maybe in California and further afield?
Sure. I mean, one of the things that I've known for quite some time about Arroyo Seco, that the Chardonnays in particular have a unique pineapple note to them. So they're at the ripest end of the fruit spectrum. And so when I started tasting the Sauvignon Blancs, the first one I tasted was the Martin Ranch, and it was so pineapple-y. It was incredibly rich and ripe and tropical, like the Chardonnays from that area, but it also had the balance, the lime, a little bit of quince, and so it showed the true nature of the varietal, but at its richest and ripest spectrum. So I found a couple of those in that camp. The Cheeseborough was the other one out of the few that I tasted. But then I also found a couple of producers, going for more of the New Zealand style, where you're blending the super ripe with maybe some more of the tart and more overtly green notes that we are looking for in Sauvignon Blanc. So it was kind of nice to see, the ones that are being made just to completely showcase what can be done in the appellation, and then others that are made to maybe to be crafted stylistically, also incorporating the terroir. And so that was nice to see. The Bernardus, for example, also Griva Vineyard, the Mercy, and then the J. Lohr was kind of the surprise of the lot, especially at its price point. Kind of combining that rich, ripe pineapple note with all of the green, that we like, and a little bit of pepper.
Mm-hmm. It seems that there's definitely what impresses me is there's a great diversity of style, and that Sauvignon Musque clone adds a certain element to all the wines that I think is really nice. But I was quite startled in tasting through many of these how different they were. Karl, can you tell me a little bit about the flume crossing specifically and what you guys seek to achieve with that wine?
Yeah, so with the flume crossing, what we're really looking for is a real thiol character. We really want to see the grapefruit. We do like to get a little bit of that boxwood in there as well, but we like to see the grapefruit and passion fruit. We don't use any oak. It's all stainless, but we do use, well, not all stainless, we do use a little bit of acacia, which we have found really kind of elevates the wine aromatically and also adds a nice bit of palate weight to the wine as well.
Excellent. And Karl, a quick follow-up question on that. I think we're seeing more use of acacia wood. What prompted you guys to use that? And, what was the inspiration for that?
That was really just a very small-scale experiment. One of our vendors asked us if we would like to just try it in a couple barrels as an alternative, and we did, and we really liked what it did for the wine. And I know there are other Sauvignon Blanc people using it. And it really seems to work well with this variety.
Mike, why don't you add a little bit too? How do you guys go about what you're doing at your program at Mercy Vineyards and what you're trying to achieve with Sauv Blanc?
Yeah, we're similar to sort of the vinification style of J. Lohr. We do exclusively stainless steel fermentation, and it's been fun working with this Musque clone because unlike Clone 1, which we've worked with in the past at other entities, Musque seems to have a very narrow window for ripening. So for a vintner like us or myself, where we only get one pass in the vineyard, we really have to be sort of on top of it. And again, it's a clone that can get sort of fat if it's ripe or overripe. So you have to make sure that you're picking it appropriately. We sort of target 22.5 bricks, kind of in that 13.5 alcohol sort of range. But again, it's predominantly because of the weight, and you tend to get a lot more. We find we get a lot more melon from the clone as opposed to, even though it's innately sort of racy at that level, you get a lot more melon than say the kiwi style, where you get a lot more sort of citrus. So it's fun, it's unique, it's different, it's exotic. It's very different than a lot of California Sauvignon Blanc, because oftentimes California Sauvignon Blancs tend to be grown in somewhat warmer climates, and this Sauvignon Musque clone does extremely well in a cool climate. It does give us, as Karl was mentioning, some green peppercorn and boxwood sort of characteristics, but it's really very fruity, and those just add subtle elements as opposed to being a driving force of the wine.
Excellent. That's great. Catherine, quickly, where do you see some of this, the region going? I don't want to say that it's an up-and-coming Sauvignon Blanc region because it's been going on for a while there, but I think the embracing of the Sauvignon Musque clone, people planting more Sauvignon Blanc, it seems, in the Musque clone in the area. What are your thoughts on the region and the grape there?
Well, I think there's two stories there. I mean, I think the Musque clone story is part of it. Certainly, if you look at going and presenting to sommeliers and restaurants and that kind of thing, wine bars, where they want that kind of little what's different about this wine. I think that's a part of the story, and also how these are probably the most pineapple-y Sauvignon Blancs in the world, and so there's nothing like it in the world, and that's totally unique. I think the other part of the story is that you can also take that extreme style of that really pineapple-y kind of rich style, and you can mitigate it a little, include more of the. And I'm sorry, I don't know what thiol or boxwood is, and I usually I'm the one that people are saying, what does that mean? So I know I'm in a room full of winemakers where I'm out I'm outworded as far as descriptors, but I think if you look at the couple being more of the green, more of that New Zealand style that is incredibly popular and well received around the world. I think you can kind of reach out to the various markets and give everybody something that they like. I also think that when you're looking at price point, most of these were under 20, and that's a very good place to be for Sauvignon Blanc. For appellation specific, and I think that's also part of the story is, hey, we're Arroyo Seco, so this is what we do, and you may have known us in the past for Chardonnay, but check out our Sauvignon Blanc. I think it's a great story about terroir coming through, and and letting the grape be the vehicle to show us that.
Absolutely, I think that's a great point. I think, and what you just touched on, which is important, that both these guys demonstrate with their programs, is that the region is able to produce a world-class bottle of wine for a very friendly price point. And I think it's hard to say that about a lot of varietals in California in particular, but elsewhere in the world too. And these guys have both been very successful, and the region in general has been very successful with that. Karl, really quick, just because I don't want to leave a dangling issue out here, what's thiol and boxwood?
So thiols are sulfur compounds. They are the kind of natural flavor compound of Sauvignon Blanc, and they usually range in that, I guess, boxwood. Just kind of some people even say cat pea aroma, grapefruit aroma, and passion fruit. Those are all thiol-based aromas that are kind of the varietal signature of Sauvignon Blanc. And as I was mentioning before, and as Mike mentioned, Sauvignon Blanc does have a fairly rapid flavor window. In warmer climates, it could be maybe even a week, going from very green to fruity to neutral. And what I think is so great about the Arroyo Seco is that window kind of spreads open a little bit. It may be only a few weeks, but it does allow us to go in there and really kind of pick when we want to pick in the vineyard to get a real diversity of flavors in the wine. So we're not just getting one profile. We can go in a little early, and we can get some of that more, I'll say, the boxwood aroma, and then we can come in again and pick and get some grapefruit, and then our final pick, we can really get some riper fruit, and I think that diversity really lends itself well. to the wine, and that's something that growing in the Arroyo Seco allows us to do. And we'll even pick certain sides of the vines. We may pick the sun side of the vine first because that tends to get a little riper, and then we can go in and pick the interior fruit later. That's
excellent. Hey, and Mike, just to add to the question that I asked Catherine, since you're located right down there, where do you see Sauvignon Blanc going in the next couple years, 3 years for the region as far as its import and just the direction of things with it?
Well, I think that again, advocacy helps. This helps sort of explain a very unique part of California. And one of the things I didn't really touch on, which is compelling of the appellation, is there's a little sliver, and J. Lohr plays in this little terrain like we do, but there's all these cobblestones, basically these granite cobblestones that have washed out of the Santa Lucia Mountains forever. So there's this one little sliver of terrain in particular that has very meager soils, and that's really where a lot of the Sauvignon Blanc plantings are. So you will also get nice sort of minerality notes, or you can tend to find great minerality notes. And again, I think all of the confluence of all these different aspects, the low yields and then the flavor profiles of the Musque clone and the stylistic approaches, again, acacia wood or stainless steel fermentations, they really kind of highlight what is an exciting future for the appellation. Again, it's a very small place, but Sauvignon Blanc definitely has a foothold in it.
Great. So, Catherine, really quickly as we kind of wrap up here, can you tell people, since you're on the phone, people can't see you, but can you tell people where to find you, your website, and what you're up to?
Oh, sure. So Planet Grape is my website, planetgrape.com. And you can sometimes find me at San Francisco Wine School, and just check out my website, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Facebook, and follow me on Pinterest.
All those platforms.
And right here on Google.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right on, Mike. So what about you? Where can people come taste your wine and come see you?
Yeah, we've got a little tasting room up in the Carmel Valley. We're always tasting Sauvignon Blanc up here. And if you want information about the wines or how to find us, the best place is our website, mercywines.com. And another resource, should folks be interested in learning a little bit more, we're part of the Arroyo Seco Wine Growers, and you can check out their website and learn a little bit more about the region, and that is ArroyoSecoWineGrowers.com.
Cool. Excellent. And Karl, what about you? Where can people come taste J. Lohr wines and see what you guys are all about?
So we have 2 tasting rooms. We have one in San Jose and one in Paso Robles, and people can find the address for those tasting rooms at jlohr.com. We are also on Facebook and Twitter.
Excellent. Perfect. Well, thanks. And touched on here, people can go visit SauvBlanc.org or summertimeinaglass.org. Either one works. And we have a whole bunch of featured stuff these days on Arroyo Seco, links to all these guys' stuff, great food pairings, write-ups on the wine, the appellation, all that kind of good stuff. So go check it out, SauvBlanc.org. I want to thank the 3 of you today for taking time out of what I know is a busy bottling schedule and other things for winemakers and teaching and whatnot for Catherine. So thanks, y'all, for participating. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
thanks
for having us,
for putting this together.
Thanks a lot. No problem. Everybody have a great day, okay?
You too. Thank you.
You too. Thanks.